The man who moves mountains begins by carrying away small stones. Confucius. My friends, each and every day, those small stones are your practice trades. You're following the markets, being in them day in and day out. The only way you're going to learn this is by doing it. If a computer could do it, it would do it. If a person could just follow a little simple formula, everyone would be a millionaire. But it doesn't work that way, does it? It works based upon those who dedicate the time and the resources. That's 15 minutes each and every day practicing these things, learning them, charting the market. It's not magic, it's not science, it's really almost an art form. I call it charting art. And all you have to do is spend the time to master it. And it's fun to do. There's nothing more fun than seeing the green on your practice trading sheet. It is just beautiful to rack it up again and again and again. And as you get better, of course, you can switch over to fractional trading. What is that? That is where you use a small dollar amount in a big ETF like the S&P 500. Depending on your broker, you might be able to just buy a fractional share of $100 and then see how well you do. If you lose 2%, that's $2 out of your pocket. If you're doing that with $100,000, completely different altogether. And you won't probably do that very long until you lose. First rule of trading, don't lose money. Second rule of trading, don't lose money. Third rule of trading, make money. So again, it is about capital security, not letting it just all disappear in bad trades, but it's also, of course, about winning. But of course, you're going to do that as you practice trade. By the way, Patreon members, we already have for you. I did them last night. I need to upload them to the Patreon page. But we have Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies, of course, always released early to our Patreon members, along with the exclusive 3-wave trades. And of course, tomorrow on Thursday for Patreon members, I will produce for you the weekly vertical crossovers. We are looking for 20 of them. We've got lots of potential candidates. We've already been reviewing them. We scan through the entire S&P 500. We look at the volume, we look at the candles, and we try to find you some candidates to potentially practice trade. I know there are people who are Patreon members just because we do that for you each and every week, and it is some phenomenal information. Let's jump into these charts, see where things are going. Oh, of course, and if you become a Patreon member, first thing you get, 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. I think it's the best options trading. It's simple, it's direct, it helps you understand, and you can begin practicing right away. Stocks and Bitcoin are up. We see gold and bonds down. Stocks just continue to tick up. Now, not a lot. This looks like a big candle, and it's been moving up a little bit each and every day, 0.11%. But moving up it is. Volume, now that we've pushed through Wednesday, it doesn't look like it's quite halfway up to the average, but we'll see where that is going. Of course, we had a big boomer for the Monday 2-day candle where things really slammed up. And of course, as you look at it, you can see on Friday in the morning and the afternoon, in the morning and the afternoon. And then on Monday, also popping up nicely and then peeling back a little bit. But again, popping up on lower than average volume in the morning on Wednesday and pulling back some to only give us a 0.11. But price on the half day and the 2-day is above nicely the weekly trend line. And it's a decent trend line connecting actually 4 candles. What do we see with the NASDAQ 100? It's up even more, 0.55%. And of course, we can see where on the weekly chart moving up nicely. We had that sideways slide for 2 weeks. Looked like the market was weakening. After the beginning of the year, it was weak, and then things turned around and started moving again last week with just at average volume. Same thing on the NASDAQ. We had that Monday morning up move, those 3 candles that gave us that high volume, as you can see on the prior 2-day candle. And of course, we had the Tuesday, Wednesday candle that came after that. Lower volume, but again, still moving up. We're going to move from stocks to bonds. Bonds, again, continuing down. Now, the low last week was 93.26. The low this week, 93.10. So we've hit a little bit of a lower low. Looks like we're about halfway toward that average. Of course, we had a little bit above average. We had average 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, a little above average. Last week, a little above average. This week, we don't know if that's going to make it all the way up there, but down for the day, 0.59%. Bonds moving in the right direction. You might say, Tom, how could bonds be moving in the right direction if we're seeing them go down? Well, my friends, if you've not been with us for a while, Tango, Bravo, Foxtrot, it is the single inverse for 20-year bonds, and look at what it's been doing. And again, for $22 or so a share, you can do a practice trade, jump in. If you've been practicing for a while, you could buy 1 or maybe 4 shares, less than $100, and you could use a little bit of money to fractionally trade. The nice thing about fractional trading, and the reason we talk about using a small bit of money once you start getting the feel and you feel like you're getting some success in your practice trades, is because then you get to put in your limit order. When you go to jump in, you never jump in at a market order, of course. And then you can, if you want to use, and in fact, I've got a chapter in the new book that I need to put out for you guys on the different kinds of stops that you can use. And it explains them a little bit. And you can experiment with those. I don't tend to use them at all, but some people like them. And the only way you're going to learn about them is to practice with them and see how they work for you. And of course, the easiest way to do that is not with a big trade, is with a little small practice trade, a little small fractional trade as you are learning, as you get down that learning curve. So again, this is just another thing that we do. Inverse funds. SH is the inverse fund for the S&P 500, PSQ, and there are other inverse funds. These are just the single inverses. Only by practicing them will you actually learn how they work for you. They have higher fees. You'll see that they're retallied quite often, most of the time every day. And again, it can cause problems, and it can affect returns that you might otherwise expect to have. That is why you practice trade these things. That's why you do little fractional trades and see how it goes for you and really learn it. And again, you're learning by doing, but you're not taking any risks that are unreasonable, because otherwise you're just gambling. If you want to gamble, don't do this. Go to Vegas and, at least hang around in a casino and see some shows as you lose money. Now, as we look, we see on TLT that the price is moving. It is below the weekly trend line on the 2-day and the half-day. You can see where it's been sliding sideways, but again, moving lower today in the afternoon. Let's look at gold. Gold down nicely, 0.82%. Now, one thing about gold, there's no good inverse fund. DGZ, if I remember correctly, DGZ. Delta, Golf, Zulu. We look at that. Now, that is an inverse fund for gold, but do I have the right one? Yeah, but I don't like it because, well, first off, if we look at gold, it looks like the inverse fund is going down. DGZ, I think I've got that right. Why would it be going? It is the short. See, that doesn't even make sense to me. Another reason I don't like it. One reason I don't like it is because it is not liquid. If I'm going to get into anything, I want a liquid stock or a liquid ETF or a liquid option. I don't want anything. And what's liquid and illiquid? It's real easy. The difference between the bid and the ask. If there's a big spread between the bid and the ask, it means that you've got an illiquid security that you are looking at purchasing. And the problem with that is you have to earn all the spread before you even begin to make money in your practice trade. That's why I stay away from illiquid things. It also means it's much more lightly traded, most likely. so the liquidity's not there either. And trying to get out might be harder. You might find all sorts of difficulties. Again, if you are out there experimenting and doing practice trades, and at some point perhaps a small fractional trade to sort of learn the ins and outs of certain things, that is typically the smart way to do stuff, and ask a lot of questions. What do we see with gold? Well, we see gold down for the day 0.82%. The low last week was 185.45. This week, 186.32. So we haven't hit the low of last week yet. We can see how the volume on the weekly continues to go down. Not much happening there on the 2-day either. You can see this latest 2-day candle's a little spinning top there. You can see what happened to gold over the last few days, sliding sideways. Doji in the morning on Wednesday, and then that down move in the afternoon. Now, let's leave gold and we'll head to Bitcoin, which rebounded a little bit for the day. You can see it up in the morning and a doji in the afternoon, 1.07%. Now, as we look at Bitcoin, we can see where it topped on the week beginning the 8th of January, second week of the year. And then, of course, third week and fourth week accelerating down. High volume. We're not up to even average volume yet. 2 days left. We'll see how that goes. We do see on the Friday, Monday, a heck of a lot of volume on that 2-day chart. Not so much on this latest 2-day candle, but going lower. Now, as we look at, let's just take a look at the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart, see where it is. And again, you can see on the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart how it had moved up and in the afternoon, moving down. You can see where it's accelerating down on that 2-day with higher volume. So again, if you compare the two, remember this one here is, I guess Bitstamp must be the exchange perhaps. Anyway, this is a 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart. So it's different than the Bitcoin that, of course, we track every day. The Bitcoin that we track every day is actually an ETF. It's the VanEck Bitcoin Strategy ETF. It does parallel similarly, but not exactly the same. So it never hurts to sort of take a look at the big Bitcoin and then see how it reflects on that 24-hour-a-day chart as you get into the market hour chart, which is what you see on the Bitcoin Strategy Fund. So again, as we followed this, because you asked us to over the last several years, we found it, again, at times to be something that's chartable, and at other times, like most of last year, not very chartable at all. We're hoping, after this latest upturn, that Bitcoin is going to be much more chartable for us. And of course, friends, you might say, hey, is there an inverse for Bitcoin? There is, and I don't have it with me right now. I know there is one, and I'm trying to look and see if I happen to have it under my cryptocurrencies. I don't. I'll find that one for you. But there is a little inverse fund. Not that I'd recommend you practice trading it, but you can do what you want. You can practice and experiment with anything. Again, on Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies, we bring you currency ETFs. We bring you different commodities from sugar to copper to silver to all sorts of interesting stuff. So again, we're here for you. We love to hear what you need, what you're interested in. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, cw@chartingwealth.com. That is it for the day, my friends. It's always my pleasure to bring this to you. People say, Thom, why do you spend this kind of time every day out here preaching to people to get into learning how to chart the market? Because it's one of the most fun things I do. It is so fun. It is so rewarding. It is so empowering. Because if you're out there and you don't really know how the markets work, you're just sort of a sucker for what anybody tells you, whatever you read. But when you can follow price movement, my friends, you are empowered. And it's all about your self-empowerment through your knowledge, your skill, and your practice. That's what we're all about. And if you appreciate what we do here, become a Patreon member and help underwrite the cost of our channel. God bless.